To view DHCP activity in DDAM, we use the DHCP Packets tab and select a node. Now a node is basically a DNS or DHCP server on the network that is generating traffic that we're collecting. So we're going to select Mars, which is our production primary DHCP server, and straight away you can see DHCP activity that it's occurring on our network. Now we've only got a small network, so we've only got 62 rows of data, each row being a DHCP packet of some sort. But straight away you can see there's something quite strange going on here. There's an Android device, which is going to be a phone or a tablet of some sort. We can see here that it sent a discover, got an offer, then it sent a request, and then an acknowledgement came back. But then literally 3 seconds later, that Android device started sending requests, and then starts doing another discover. So something's not quite right. Despite the fact that an offer is being sent and there's an acknowledgement, the next packet is showing that Android device is still not using the IP address that it's been offered and acknowledged. So there's an issue going on there. There may be an issue with that particular Android device. Now we can use filters to filter the display. So if you do have thousands and thousands of rows of data, we can use things like a client MAC filter to filter on a specific device. So for instance, that Android device, rather than typing in the full MAC address, I can use a wildcard and just put in the last few characters of the MAC address, and we see all the DHCP activity for that Android device. Now we can use multiple filters, so if we wanted to, we could actually specify a filter on the message type and just maybe filter on ACKs. So we can see we've got 3 ACKs there for that particular Android device. You'll notice we don't see the host name. That's because the client host name is not actually included in packets that originate from the DHCP server. They're sent by the client, so they'll only be seen in discover and request packets. Now one of the things we can do is turn columns off. So for instance, we don't have any IP helpers in our network on Cisco routers, for instance, because we've got such a small network here. So we can turn this column off because it's always going to be 0. And we can actually move columns around as well. Okay, and then if we wanted to, we can export this data to a CSV file, and the export feature will actually honour the filters and the order of those columns. So we can see that because of our filtering, we've only got 3 rows of data here. Now the columns aren't persistent, so if I log out and log back in again, they will reset to how they were originally, back to the default. So I don't actually have to move them back, the columns back, if I don't want to. Now one of the things I can do is actually select a different node. So I do actually have a secondary DHCP server on our network, which is called Phobos. So let's just select that, because I noticed something interesting earlier. In fact, here we go. So whereas previously on our primary DHCP server I only had 3 ACKs, now I'm actually seeing 5 ACKs. But this is on the secondary DHCP server. Now our DHCP server runs in an active-passive mode, so the primary is active and the failover is passive, so it shouldn't actually be sending acknowledgements. So it looks like there's actually a problem with our DHCP configuration in our network, because it shouldn't really be sending acknowledgements, unless of course they are in form, the requests are in form packets. So let's just turn that filter off and do a refresh. Oh no, that's interesting, they are actually full-blown discovers and requests. So it looks like there could be a multitude of issues here then, where maybe we've got 2 DHCP servers offering different IP addresses, and maybe the Android device is getting a little confused. I can turn off the MAC filter, so then we'll see all the activity, and this is on our secondary DHCP server. So that's a quick overview of viewing DHCP activity using DDAM.